Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Custom Tours Championship. We had a 1 week break from Dragon Trail, and now we are back and ready to rock and roll here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for round 4 of the championship. So it's going to be a fast and furious race here today, and here we're going to go. Hang on. I forgot it going in the background. Sorry about that, guys. If you're double me for a moment, yeah, actually I have myself in the background just making sure stream stuff worked. But hey, we know stream stuff works now. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and take things around Mid-Ohio, one of the most famous racing courses in North America. And I believe it is for the first time this season we are heading to the North American continent. So the drivers are finishing up their practice session right now. We do have 23 cars on the grid for today's race across CT 450 and CT 500. So we'll just have to see how this goes. It was a tricky race, and it was a lot of track the drivers were not really familiar with last time out in Dragon Trail. So we'll see. This is a course that might be familiar to more people, both in the chat and also on the track. So we'll just have to kind of see how everything is going to go. Once again, so far it is just myself, Patrick Coleman, in the commentary booth. I don't know if we'll have Sam here today. Hopefully we do. I enjoy commentating with our equivalent of Crofty. But yeah, we'll just have to kind of see how everything does play out. We're going to attempt to jump into the racing server right now. So practice at Mid-Ohio has pretty much wrapped up here. And now we're going to go ahead and try to jump on in. And I think we're going to see if this is the race session. If it is, then we'll jump straight to the track. Oh, correction. It is qualifying here, so we're not going to quite get going yet. We're going to wait till qualifying is pretty much done and dusted, and then we'll go ahead and jump on in. So it'll be a little bit longer where you'll have to listen to me yap on for a bit. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and pull up some history about the Mid-Ohio Sports Course. So it's not a long qualifying session. It's only going to be about another 2 minutes. So it's really just kind of a one-shot quali here. So Mid-Ohio is a track that does have some pretty rich history here. It's been around since 1962. So it is one of the most historic racing circuits in America in particular. Of course, across the globe as well. So the track that we are racing on here hasn't really changed a whole lot since its original iteration. We are currently running on the layout that's been around since 1990 to even modern day. So once again, it is an FIA Grade 2 circuit. And there's a lot of events that happen here. It's been a part of the North American Touring Car Championship scene for quite some time. IMSA races there, and the American Le Mans Series has races there for a while. IndyCar as well. So it is a very beautiful venue. Some good overtaking spots, but it can be a pretty narrow track. So we'll have to see. And also, we also just got to kind of note that there's some drivers that have a lot of momentum coming into this race, but once again, we had a bit of a weak break, so the momentum might have kind of fizzled out a bit, but we'll just have to see. As qualifying is wrapping up here in the last few seconds. Hopefully you guys are having a fantastic day. Make sure you guys got some water, got some drinks. You guys are ready to go, because this is going to be a very, very, very enjoyable race, but it's also going to be a very hectic race. So thank you guys so much for tuning on in. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and jump in here in a little bit. It is going to be about 10-ish seconds left, and then we're going to give it a few, and then we're going to jump in and get ready to race here. And I am reading the YouTube chat, and I do I'm glad you guys do enjoy the history lessons. And what you're seeing here is some snapshots from priors, or some scenes from prior seasons. So that is pretty much what we are seeing here. A few drivers now finishing up their lap times as things go. It looks like in the CT300s, it is going to be Elaine Broust who is going to go ahead and take provisional pole in the CT300s. And then it is currently Ismael Rodriguez, who had a rough time of it last time, but not going to get pole this time. It is Marcus Pennington III in the Jaguar XJS getting provisional pole. And times are kind of filtering through here as drivers go ahead and try to finish up their last lap here. And so we're just going to kind of wait things out, waiting for the rest of these times to come on through. It looks like Pennington will go ahead and get pole position here. Matty Shepard not too far behind. And actually, here's the thing. Matty set that lap time on a set of medium tires. And actually, Matty does take provisional pole, although there are a few drivers going ahead and dipping out. So I think that is going to be our cue to jump into the session. We're going to hop in our very, very fancy and very, very expensive BMW M330 that we're going to go ahead and jump into our spectator car with. And then once we go ahead and get ready, we're going to head straight to the track and get ready for round number 4 of the Custom Touring Cars Championship Season 3. And I believe we're just about to get going here. Just going to wait things out. Actually, we're going to leave and rejoin the session real quick just to go ahead and just make sure, because sometimes a solo courser can be a bit tricky when it comes to sessions. But yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think this is the first season where they've actually had live broadcast too, so that's a fantastic milestone for this honestly really amazing championship. So qualifying is over. We're going to give it about another few moments before we go ahead and get straight into things. And Marcus Pennington will get pole position in the Jaguar for CT450. And then for the 300s is Elaine Broust in the Volkswagen Corrado. So we're seeing some pretty good lap times here. And now we're gonna go ahead and jump on in. The teasing is over, and now we're going to go ahead and get into the actual track, into the race. And for the first time on the day, you will actually see these cars head to the track instead of hearing me yap over the timing tables. And here we go. We're about to go ahead and get racing here. You can hear the cars, and now you're going to see the cars. So there we go. Now the cars are out on track. And we're seeing some cars going ahead and getting a little bit of a quick practice in before they get ready to race. We're seeing our cars go ahead and just ripping it out onto the circuit. They won't really get any meaningful laps in. This will pretty much just kind of be a warm-up. But now we're going to go ahead and get ready to race here. It's going to be a fun race. It's not going to be the longest race, but it will be a pretty fun race. We'll see some good battles, some good overtakes, like we've seen so far throughout the entirety of the season, as some drivers are already out on track. We're just going to go ahead and just kind of run through. The thing about this championship is that there's some cars that some of the new reviewers might have never heard before. And like the Rover here. I mean, I honestly didn't even really, I remember Rover existing as a brand, but I've never actually really seen one in any kind of series until now. The beauty of a championship of this caliber. With these are cars pretty much kind of, they're like 90s spec, essentially. So, there's a few cars that are a bit older. Like, let's see if I can find them. Fred Bodden in the Toyota Supra. The number 86 car, running a bit of an older chassis, but you also have some more modern-ish machines. If I can go ahead and find one, I know there is a, yep, there it is. There's a Mazda RX-7 FD. So a lot of fun cars here, and this is probably honestly my favorite car of this championship, because This is the Volvo 240. This thing is not meant to be fast by any stretch, but Matty has done such an excellent job of getting this car into the best operating window and the best engine. And honestly, it's been doing this Volvo wonders. I think this might be one of the few cars, which once again I would have to check some stats, but I think this is one of the only cars that does have a 100% podium percentage. It's got some wins under its belt in this massive car that's borderline built out of tungsten, but it is fast, as we're seeing. So drivers are just going to go ahead and finish their practice laps here, and then we're going to go ahead and jump straight to the track and get ready to race. We'll see a little bit of grass stuck to these cars a bit, as that is just kind of in a center course of thing. As Mayonnaise is driving in reverse, going down one of the straights here. Mayonnaise, I'm not sure what you're doing, to be honest, but it looks like you're having fun in that number 24 Peugeot. As there's just a little bit of grass just kind of stuck to the back of it. Actually, a few of these cars do have a little bit of grass kind of stuck to them, but I'm seeing some things in chat telling me good luck for my voice. It's good to see you guys again. I mean, I know you guys had a rough day, a good day, but a rough day earlier on. So, yeah, I am just kind of laughing at this, this kind of procession that we're having here, as practice is just about to be wrapped up. So here's the split. So CT450 is our top class. So that's the cars like the R32, the XJS. I know there's others than that. The Toyota, the Mercedes, and then we have our CT300s, which actually there's more of them than there is the other category. So those are cars like the Saab. It's always good to see Saab on track. And then we have the Rovers. We have the Volkswagen Corrado, Peugeots, and of course we can't forget the so far mostly dominant Renault 5. So I will also hold that same sentiment there. Good luck, have fun to everybody on the track. It should be a lot of fun. I'm actually really looking forward to this race. It's good to be back. We had a week off in between Dragon Trail and now, but honestly, I'm really excited and really glad to get back into the swing of things. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and get racing here very, very, very shortly, as we got 27 laps around mid-Ohio. And I see someone saying that the announcers are appreciated, but, well, you know what? I appreciate you guys for jumping on into the series. We're about to go ahead and get racing here for 27 laps around mid-Ohio. I mean, it may have mid in the name, but this track is certainly way more than mid. This track is a work of art, and honestly, I'm ready for it to get live. Here we go. Marcus Pennington III in the Jaguar up at the front. It'll be interesting to see how he gets off the line. This is a track that is going to benefit speed for a good portion of it, so Sector 1 is going to be really friendly to the Jaguar, as round 4 at Mid-Ohio is going to get underway in just a minute. And yeah, I'm actually really excited to see how this race plays out. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be fast. It's going to be furious. It's going to be over before you know it. But you're going to get some memorable racing action here as we're about to get underway for round number 4 in just under a minute. You hear the engines revving up. With 30 seconds to go, this is the best time for you guys to go. Get yourself a drink. Get some water. It is good. It is good for your body to be hydrated. Also, go ahead and get yourself some snacks. Get some lunch. Get whatever you need. And get ready, because we are about to be racing here as we see the lights coming on now. We're going to see the 2 sets of lights going ahead and jumping up on our screens. Here we go. The lights are on. And it is lights out, and away we go here. A good launch there from Ismael Rodriguez, the only all-wheel drive car in this entire category is that Nissan, so it's going to be a good run down into turn number 1. Some good action, and the CT350s are also underway. Elaine Broust still leading this pack. See some pretty good racing here. And then we have Tito making his way through the field right now in that ever-dominant Renault. Oh, big contact there! Big contact there! And we see Lothar just tumbling down the order. That is Lothar Leichenberg in the Mercedes 190 having a bit of a rough start to the race. As we have a battle here between Marcus and Rodriguez here. This is going to be a tight one. Now the Nissan had a good start last time at Dragon Trail, but just couldn't quite capitalize it. Are we going to see a better turn of things here? Ishmael having pretty good rotation. Now, one of the issues with the Nissan was that it had some issues with smoothness. But looks like whatever issues that Nissan had, they got it fixed over the bit because that car looks mighty rapid right about now. But so does the Volvo of Shepherd. Now taking it back a look at the CT300s. Tito Saverda is going to go and try to put pressure onto Elaine Broust. We know that the Renault has won 2 out of the 3 rounds here so far. And oh, there's another car. Oh, that was the spectator car spawning on track for some reason. That's a weird moment. Luckily, I don't think that messed up anybody to my knowledge. If it did, then I think they will put a restart there because that was definitely the spectator car spawning in at a weird angle. So for context, there is a spectator car that is used for these races, but usually it just spawns in the pit lane. So why it spawn on track, especially there, I'm not too sure exactly, but it is gone now, and we're back to racing. Fred Bodden trying to put pressure now onto Kyle McCain, the other Jaguar. But once again, there's some good battling here. And actually, look at this. Leonard Bork is trying to go ahead and try to defend from Mayonnaise. Mayonnaise going around the outside into Peugeot, trying to get a move done onto the Saab, but the outside becomes the inside. But the Saab is still going to just power out of it. These two are still going to go side by side as we are on lap 2 of 27. And the battle is still raging on. Mayonnaise, I think, getting the better of that battle for now. And these guys are fighting really hard for a position. This is for the lead of the class. This is for the lead of the 350s. Oh, sorry, no, that was for P3, the final podium spot of the 350s. This is for the lead of the 300s. So we're seeing some pretty good battles here, going ahead and giving it a go. It looks like Elaine Broust in that Volkswagen is doing pretty good work here. Mayonnaise and Lenart, the Saab versus the Peugeot, gonna duke it out here. Terry Nutt now going side by side with Wrecking B. And that's gonna be a good move there. Onto the, I think that's one of the FSO cars. We'll double check. Oh, that's a Rover. That's just a Rover with a livery that hasn't loaded in. Unfortunate error, but that is one of the Rovers on track. Another brand you don't really hear much about. Now we're going to go ahead and jump back to this battle in the lead of the overall race for the CT450s. As these drivers are going to go ahead and try to battle out once again. They build up a pretty good gap to Matty Shepard in the Volvo in the back. And now we got Fred Bodden trying to fight the other Jaguar of Kyle McCain. Kyle McCain in one of these stronger cars of the series, but Jaguar just hasn't had the best of luck. The winning cars this season so far have been the Toyota and the Volvo, with Fred Bodden winning the first round and I believe Matty Shepard winning the next 2 rounds. So it's been a 2-car championship for now, but it could be a 3. Look at this side-by-side battling, a bit of a love tap there from Bodden on to McCain. And these guys are still going to go ahead and duke it out. They're going to give it the old college try as we ride on board now. We're going to see if we can see a pass here from Fred Bodden. He's got a good slipstream coming into turn number 2. Oh, bit of a love tap there again. So he's going to allow him to stay on track, but that Toyota might have some damage on it. that 1993 Toyota Supra Celica might have some damage. We'll see. Jules Wild in the Porsche going to go ahead and try to put some pressure on as well. That's going to at least close this gap up here in the 450s, as there's a good amount of battling here for position. And we're seeing some excellent racing here. Terry Nutt once again side by side with Aurelio Toscanini battling it out for a position. Is he going to get the move done onto the RX-7? Yes, he will. He's going to hold it. And I think that move is done and dusted. The benefit of having a shorter wheelbase. As you see, the lap times about less than 2 seconds apart from these cars. So, once again, we have 2 classes here, but you're still allowed to fight for your position. As a bit of a moment there, potentially involving one of the other Renault 5s on track. Yeah, that is Joaquin Madeira. I might have mispronounced that, but I do apologize. But Joaquin is going to go ahead and try to go ahead and get away now from the Rover just behind the Rover Miles Prowler. Trying to potentially get a move done here. Actually, no, that is the FSO machine, which is essentially a Ford, now pretty much locked in with a battle for position against Terry Nutt just behind. And there's a lot of battles going on here. Peter Erdl going in and trying to put pressure in the Mercedes. Going to go and try to put pressure onto the fellow German car of Jules Wild in that Porsche. A bit of a lockup there on the brakes from the number 59. And we're only on lap number, oh, that sounded like it was a hit, I think. Sounded like one. Maybe it was between Ishma and McCain, or Shima and McCain. Potentially, but now it's going to be, so we have Jaguar versus Nissan here, and then we have Jaguar versus Nissan here, as Pennington did get into the lead of the race. And now Rodriguez is going to try to go ahead and put a lot of pressure onto the back of this car, trying to go ahead and make things work. Now here's the thing, this is the only all-wheel drive car in the CT450, so it will have some advantages that the Jaguar will lack. But we'll just have to see if Rodriguez can go ahead and make it work, as Ishmael is going to continue to try to get closer and closer to the back of the Jaguar, trying to retake the position. A bit late on the brakes, going through the hairpin of turn number 2. And the racing is still going on. Still some very good racing between these drivers here as they continue to make their way down the massive run, coming into turn 4, coming into the really technical S's on the track. This is the part where the Nissan should have a pretty good advantage, but looks like the Jaguar just a bit quicker in the corners this time around. As we know that Jaguar is seriously quick. As we have a battle here right towards the back. It is going to be Rick A.B. trying to go ahead and get a move done. Trying to get it done onto David Torado in the Saab, in the number 10 Saab. Still seeing some really feisty battles up and down this field. But it looks like there's a pretty solid gap here in the CT350s. The closest battle here, CT300s. The closest battle in this group right now is between Terry Nutt and Joaquin Madeira. Now jumping to the 450s, there's a few more battles going on here. And look at this! This is a strong fight here. Cars trying to jockey for position. Ishma is ahead of Wild. Wild is going to go ahead and try to use that Porsche to try to go ahead and put some pressure onto the Nissan. Thinking of a move. Going to shake for it up the inside. Not enough real estate, but he might lose a position to Peter Erdl just behind. Peter Erdl in the Mercedes. He's going to have that position. Maybe. We'll see. He's going to try to send it up the inside here. Looks like the Porsche might have a bit of a better run of things. But it does look like that position is going to be given to Peter Erdl. But look at this. Cannavaro trying to go ahead and find a gap to make a move in that Jaguar. Lots of fights going on here. Take a look at the last lap of all these drivers. So pretty good stuff here from these drivers. Let's look at the tire here. So Pennington's going to go long here. He's on the hard tire, so he's planning on. I think he's won a few cars on the hards. We know Matty Shepard has made the hard tires do amazing things. I mean, we saw the hard tire pretty much work wonders for Matty last round in Dragon Trail, as we were at the beautiful Dragon Trail Gardens layout. A very fun track, and if you've played Gran Turismo Sport or Gran Turismo 7, you'll probably agree with me that it is a very beautiful track. Both layouts of Dragon Trail are. But now things have kind of spread out here overall, as now the CT300s are going to give it a go. As Aurelio Toscanini in the Mazda RX-7 going to go and try to put pressure onto the FSO of Miles Prowler. They're going to go ahead and try to make moves happen here, but I think right now it's kind of a holding pattern for a lot of these drivers, trying to go ahead and trying to get some positions, as Ismael Rodriguez is now still trying to close in that gap. Oh, look at this, a bit of a slide there from Toscanini. Just a tad bit of a slide there, as Rodriguez is still trying to go ahead and push forward. Trying to go ahead and get stuff done here, but once again, there's still quite a few laps of racing to go here. We're a little under a third of the way through this race, as there's going to be some battles here and there, as Jules Wild is now trying to go and make his way past Mayonnaise. So this is a 450 versus a 300. Should be a bit of an easy one, but we have seen that these 300s can be pretty competitive, particularly Broust and Saavedra. I'll get the pronunciations right one of these days, as Pennington does set the fastest lap of the race so far. He's built a mighty fine gap to Rodriguez there in P2, who is under pressure from Matty Shepard. And this is a fight that we're going to really enjoy here, as we're also enjoying Jules Wild trying to chase down the car just ahead of him, trying to chase down Mayonnaise still. But we're still seeing some really, really solid racing here. And as the pass is done and dusted, Mayonnaise is going to lose the position to Jules Wild. And now here we go, side by side. It is going to be Matty Shepard trying to get the move done around the outside on Ismael Rodriguez. The Coca-Cola Matty. She's trying to get moves done onto the PlayStation Nissan. But I think the Nissan's going to have a bit more grip coming out of the corners. It's on a quicker tire and the four-wheel drive system. But man, this is going to be an intense race here. I'd say it will be an intense race. It already is an intense race. Seeing some moves pretty much up and down the grid. And honestly, I don't think this is going to settle down anytime soon, as we have another battle here with the CT300s. As Madeira is trying to get closer to their rival, just up the road of Terry Nutt. But we're going to stick on board with this battle here between these two very talented drivers and very quick machines. Pennington now stuck behind traffic though, so he needs to get around. I believe this is Patricia Fleck, I believe. So actually, no, that's David Torado. He's getting around David Torado there. So the first little bit of lap traffic that we're seeing here on lap 10 out of 27. And actually, we're going to do something we haven't done before. We're going to go ahead and take a quick step back and allow you just to enjoy the engine sounds of, let's do it for the Jaguar. We'll keep an eye on this battle with Matty Shepard as they, oh, that's pretty tight there. Pretty close battles. We'll wait for that at the moment. Seeing some really good battling here up and down the field. And this is going to be a close battle. It's going to be tight, but we'll actually stay on board with Matty Shepard as she battles with Ismael Rodriguez, and we'll be right back. Alright, we are back to racing action here as Matty Shepard did get the pass done on to Ishmael Rodriguez. The Volvo now being fully unleashed as there's still a really strong battle here going on between these two. As Broust is actually kind of knocking out the door of trying to overtake another 450. Now we've seen Elaine Broust be really rapid in that Volkswagen in the CT300s. So I know that Elaine can be really quick on her day. As now we go ahead and check on in. We'll do another check-in with the 300s. As Mayonnaise is now trying to go ahead and claim that last podium position. Still fighting with Leonard Bork as they go ahead and continue to duke it on out. As we are still keeping an eye on this gap between Marcus Pennington and Matty Shepard. So that is always really fun to see. We love seeing just fun little gaps here in between. Just kind of like keeping tabs on pretty much everything going on here, because I mean this is going to be a really spicy battle between the two. As Mayonnaise is still trying to close in. Tuscanini and Miles Prower still going to go at it. As there's a car off the track. That is a car off the track. That might be Leichenberg. It is Leichenberg. Lothar Leichenberg. And not having a great time in the Mercedes. Although I did hear that the Mercedes is a tricky beast to drive. As Kadej Ishma still going to go ahead and try to get moves done on the Kyle McCain. This has been a battle that's been brewing for quite some time now. As we just see how it's all going to go ahead and play out. I mean, this is fantastic racing that we're seeing between these drivers. Just once again, keeping in mind the gap. We've seen Matty Shepard claw these gaps before as we are just about halfway through the race, or we're getting closer to about halfway through the race. Pretty much right at that halfway point. Now there's a lap traffic car of David. David is going to have to go ahead and let these cars on through. He is lapped. He can still fight it if he wants, I think, but he's ultimately just going to decide to let him on through. Not worth risking the penalty, as Bauden Ishmael at a moment. Ishmael Rodriguez having a bit of a moment there, and that is not going to do him any favors. That's a rough one if you are the Nissan. Just, you'd start good, but oh, another moment, another spin. The Nissan is off into the gravel. And oh, this is the stuff of nightmares if you're Rodriguez. Once again, we have a good battle here going on between these two. As Cannavaro still a good ways up, but still has a pretty good eye for this battle going on. As Ishima and McCain going at it again. It'll be Nissan against Jaguar once again. The Jaguar won once. Is it going to be the Nissan's turn? Shaking for a move. Not quite going to happen going into turn one, but there's a good run into the hairpin where we might see that come to fruition. So once again, just checking in on the classes now. And there's still a really tight battle between these cars here. We're seeing some drivers making pit stops now, so some drivers have opted in to call this their part of their pit strategy. As we get a bit of a leaderboard reset here. Once again, nothing has really changed in that short span of time. Cannavaro is still pretty much right at the back of Ishima there. As we see some cars in the pits. Broust and Bork going ahead and duking it out. They're still going to go ahead and try to fight it tooth and nail. As we take a look back at the 300s to see how their standings are going. Elaine Broust going to take about a move on the inside. Oh, they almost touch. They almost touch. Some close battling happening on here. And honestly, this is what I love about this championship, because you got battles in both classes, and they're equally as intense. No quarter given, but a lot of respect given between these drivers here, as Elaine Broust back up in the third. Jumping back now to our overalls, Ishima is now trying to put McCain back under pressure. I mean, this is a move he's been trying to get done for several laps now. The drivers are going to have to pit in at some point, but we will see a bit of oversteer there for the Skyline of Ishima. Oh, he's having a fight, that Nissan. He might lose a position to his fellow Nissan if he's not too careful, as Terry Nutt is still trying to put Ellie Browse under pressure as Tito Saavedra pits. Or Saavedra pits. I will get those right eventually. But Saavedra making a pit stop now. He will come out, and he'll come out just behind his teammate. So he'll come out in 4th in class as they continue to race around here in mid-Ohio. It has been a beautiful race here, I must say. We've seen a lot of action, a lot of fights in both classes, really. And Tuscanini is about to get into a fight of his own. The RX-7 trying to put pressure on as Kade Ishima still trying to get past this Jaguar. As we see this battle going on between Aurelio Tuscanini trying to get against Miles Power. We've seen a lot of recurring battles here. They're good battles, just battles that just don't have any kind of conclusion yet. McCain and Rodriguez are into the pits now. They're going to go ahead and shed some tires. As now we have Fred Bawden going ahead and trying to get past Peter Ertl. So it's Toyota versus Mercedes. The Toyota will get the move, but a little bit of bumping between the cars. That's the beauty of touring cars, because you can have a few of those door banger moments and not really damage anything. And these cars are from the 90s, so you'll save some time and save some repair bills, as these cars are just kind of built to take a few hits here and there. They can trade paint and not really be concerned about it. So still seeing some excellent racing here. Cannavaro is still trailing a bit, as now we're seeing some more pit stops cycle on through for a few of these other drivers, as the racing is still going to keep going on, still keep getting intense. But now here's the thing, this race is actually going to settle down a bit because of the pit stop. So Matty Shepard in the lead right now approaching traffic, but it is because Pennington didn't make a pit stop already. And actually Pennington is just now leaving the pit, so, or I think he made a pit stop last time. He did set the fastest lap of the race, so he's gonna go ahead and try to close the gap to Maddie. Maddie needs to make this in-lap count. She needs to get past these lapped cars here, which may be easier said than done. The 300 shouldn't be an issue, but coming up to some of the lapped 450s a bit later on will probably be a bit tricky for the number 27. We'll see. We've seen traffic cause a few issues here in this series before. We haven't seen it really tonight, as Rodriguez is now thinking about trying to go side by side against Cannavaro. The Nissan trying to go ahead and make the recovery drive that he so desperately needs, as Rodriguez is now trying to maybe find some kind of gap, but Ishmael not really finding a gap here. As a late great Formula One driver once said, if you no longer go for a gap that exists, then you're no longer a racing driver. But it takes a good driver to identify that gap, and good on Ishmael for not just sending a ludicrous dive bomb up the inside. 10 laps to go here around mid-Ohio, and man, what a race it has been so far. Matty Shepard now coming into the pits. This will return the lead to Marcus Pennington. We'll see if Pennington can get a win here. It'll be the first win for Jaguar of the season. They've come so close and yet so far away on a few occasions this season. And it'll be looking like that the Jaguar is going to try to get something done here. Going to try to get a win. Pulled ahead of Matty by quite a bit, but here's the thing though. Oh, they're both on the medium, so we'll see. I mean, we've seen Matty Shepard do some miraculous racing here in previous rounds. So we'll see if the Volvo can catch up. As Rodriguez and Cannavaro still batting out. This is probably Cannavaro's best race of the season so far. And yes, we can go ahead and see the tires once again. Get a better glimpse. And actually here, we'll make things a bit easier for us. So taking a look now at the drivers in the CT450s. Most people, aside from Ishima, are on the mediums. Ishima being the only driver on the soft tire compound. So an interesting call for the Nissan. We'll see if it works out. I mean, with 10 laps to go, there's a good chance it might. As is lap 19 with Marcus Pennington going ahead and setting the fastest lap. But now we take a look at the 300s. And it's kind of more evenly split here in the 300s. You got about half the field on the softs and another half on the mediums. Nobody running the hard tire now, as the hard tire is not really a late stage tire. It's usually, you typically, in this series anyway, you typically see hard tires more in the beginning. So drivers tend to go long in the first stint and then go quick on the second stint is usually what we see here. But now we're going to go ahead and jump back into the racing action here. As Terna and Borg still going to go at it. Still going to go ahead and try to fight with every singular fiber of their being. As they continue to duke it out on track. We'll go ahead and just bring everything back up here real quickly. So here we go. Some pretty good battles probably coming up here very, very shortly. Although, granted, this field is mostly spread out, so we're not going to see too many crazy battles here at this stage of the race. It's just drivers going to try to bring it home. But Tuscanini and Miles Prower are going to still duke it out. This fight is another fight that can go into the categories of fights that seemingly never end. They have Lothar just behind in the 450 Mercedes. So Tuscanini and Prower got to be careful of that quicker Mercedes behind, because the Mercedes could disrupt things here for a bit. And here's the thing, this is for overall position that they're going to be battling it out for too. So Lothar will go in and split this pair, kind of break up the battle, even if just temporarily. But I mean, there's good fights happening all over the place, because on the left side of your screen you're going to see going through all sorts of bumps there. For Ismael Rodriguez taking, I mean, that was a pretty bumpy ride there for the number 20 PlayStation R32. I think that might have been a bit of a curb, but yeah, that's not going to really help his case here. He's still going to close in on the back of Cannavaro with 8 laps to go here. They're still going to be fighting. They're still going to be giving it. They're going to push for every single inch on the track. And we'll see Rodriguez trying to go ahead and close it in. We're going to now hop on board with the number 20. Going ahead and reaching almost 250 kilometers an hour just before the braking zone here. There is a CT, I think that's a CT300 car that they got to have to go ahead and get past here pretty shortly. Actually, no, that is not. That is actually Kadei Ishma. That is Ishma there in the Nissan. And we're going to get some really good battles. There's one of the Peugeots going a bit wide. And that's going to allow Ishima to get on through. And now look at this. Rodriguez and Cannavaro duking it out side by side. Trying to get some moves happening here. They are fighting for every possible position. Oh, look at that. That's a big punt. They both are around. Oh, Rodriguez's race just keeps getting from bad to worse. He tried for a gap. He saw, but the gap ultimately wasn't there. And another big tap. It's another big tap. Going around is Cannavaro. Having a big spin then in the Jaguar. Getting tapped and spun around by... I'll have to find which car that was. It's one of the Peugeots. That might be Patricia no, I don't think it was Fleck. I'm not sure which driver that was, to be honest. I thought it might have been Fleck, but Not too sure, but we're going to go ahead and still continue some hard racing here. As Toscanini has probably one of his best chances to get past miles per hour here. And we're seeing, oh, I wonder what happened here. Pennington must have had a bit of a mistake. Oh, he is tucked in behind one of the 300s. That is Joe Quinn. Tucked in behind Joe Quinn as Pennington gets on through, losing a good amount of time there to Matty Shepard, who is trying to make a hard charge of her own through this field. It is a hard charge we have seen a few times before this season, as Matty Shepard is magnificent in this late stage. I mean, she can push like no man's business on this track. Well, just across the season, I mean, we saw probably the best in Dragon Trail, and we saw a pretty good run of it in Harama around 2 of the season. So Shepard in the Volvo, and there it is. We have another retirement. Ismael Rodriguez will retire from the race. We are down to 21 cars. We had a retirement earlier that we did kind of miss a bit, and we'll talk about that post-race, but it is still quite a few laps left to go here. And as these drivers come across the line, it will be 5 laps to go on the race, as Pennington now is making his way through the last couple of corners. And now we'll officially be on 5 laps to go here, as Toscanini still trying to go ahead and throw some pressure in, trying to get moves done against the FSO of miles per hour. We'll see if he can get it done. Aurelio thinking about it, really closing out to the back, gonna tuck behind through turn 1, but now it's the massive run down into turn number 2, into the hairpin. Are we gonna see the Mazda make a move? The rotary power gonna go for it. Going up the inside. The move is done and dusted. Good move there. That's a move that Aurelio has been wanting for so long in that number 79 RX-7. And the move is finally done for P16 overall and P8 in class. Very good battling here, as we're going to see just a little bit more of it going on through. But Matty Shepard is really starting to close that gap in, as Terry Nutt and Mayonnaise are both chasing down Leonard Borg, the last car in the overall top 10. And we've seen this a bit here in recent times, where some of the CT300s will break into the top 10 here, especially if there's some maladies for the 450s. So now we're seeing a 3-way battle for P10 at the moment. Terry Nutt, Mayonnaise, Leonard Bork, oh, giving it their all here. Trying to fight for these positions. Trying to get any kind of position here. We're going to see diving up the inside. That's a move for Terry Nutt. He's up into 10th overall and P3 in class. So not only is that a top 10 overall, but that's a P3 in class. In class putting there is miles per hour, getting really close to the back now of Terry Nutt. Trying to go ahead and get some moves here, but once again, they're running out of laps. You only got about 4 laps to go here. Bit of a brake lock up there for miles per hour. Still going to hold it on the inside of the hairpin. And it is going to be a not quite successful overtake there. It was almost successful, but not quite. Close, but no tamale. As they make their way down here, making the run into the S's here. It's going to have to be a switchback potentially from them. And it looks like the RX-7 did lock up the brakes a bit. The number 64 trying to get these moves in. It's not quite it. Not quite. Still a bit too much room there. As miles per hour. I mean, you can see the look of determination in his face as he's trying to chase down this RX-7. Trying to fight for everything here. I mean, this is such a fun battle to watch. I am so happy that we have this series here, and there's a little bit of a runoff there from Toscanini just up the road. Looks like maybe the same thing that got Rodriguez upset it a bit earlier on. Mayonnaise now trying to go in and also overtake the Saab. in the CT300s. This would be for another position. I think this would pretty much guarantee, well, this wouldn't be for a podium spot because you have to get past Terry Nutt for that podium spot in class. But 3 laps to go here on the night. It has been a fast and furious race here so far. As Peter Ertl now in the CT. Oh, bit of a rear brake lockup there. Trying to get close to Kyle McCain. Trying to go ahead and jump into the top 5 for what I think might be the first time this season. We might see it. Matty Shepard is closing the gap, but just not by enough. It's just a little too late. As Matty Shepard is still going to go ahead and try to close in the gap, but we've seen the miracles work for the Volvo, but this time I just don't think it's going to be quite enough, as it is still lots of fights raging on here up and down the field, but it has mostly settled down as the race leader, Marcus Pennington, is on the penultimate lap of the race here in Mid-Ohio. So it's still a good amount of racing left to go, but the time is ticking down. So for drivers who want to get a move on, it's pretty much make or break time here. I mean, otherwise you're just going to be fresh out of luck if you wait too long. But then again, you got to really just try to get close. You got to try to make things happen, but it's much easier said than done, especially in cars in the same class. And we're going to have a little bit of a dual camera going on here. Mayonnaise trying to get the move done on to the Saab here. Trying to get that position away from Leonard Bork, the number 9 Saab. Putting on some good defense, but I think that might be Pennington just directly behind. That is Pennington directly behind. So Pennington trying to go ahead and get this move done. He wants to get out of the way, or get these cars out of his way so he can continue. If he stays stuck behind these cars for too long, Matty Shepard is going to have a really good chance of just closing this gap and ultimately potentially taking another race win of the season. So Matty Shepard is going to start, I mean, the gap is closing in a bit as Marcus Pennington III is still stuck behind these cars here. As it is now time for the final lap of the race. I think Pennington, unless he gets messed up by the traffic here, he's got a race win under his belt. And it'll be one that he's been wanting. It's been long overdue for the Jaguar. He's been wanting a win. He's been close to wins, but just couldn't get it quite on the top step of the podium. Now we do see Leonard Bork still trying to go ahead, and actually now this car's going to work as a pretty good gap for Bork and Mayonnaise, as Shepard is going to go ahead and try to close it in. Trying to put the Volvo to good use. She is locked in, trying to close in, but I mean, she's closing the gap, but I just don't think it's going to be quite enough yet. As we are now through the S's. Now, this is the toughest part of the track to get past traffic on. As we're going to go ahead and continue watching on. But, coming around the last few corners now, it has been a very strong drive from him. He's only got a handful of corners left to go. If he can make this stick, he will be the winner of the race, and it'll be the first win of the season for Jaguar. He's only got one sweeping right-hander left to go. It was gonna be a good effort from Matty Shepard, but unfortunately, this Jaguar will get away from it. Marcus Pennington III wins round 4 at Mid-Ohio, and Elaine Broust is looking like she will be the winner of the CT300s. The timing table is going to get a bit wild here momentarily, but I can promise you that Elaine Broust is in the lead in the class, making her way through the couple of final corners now. And this is pretty much another race win. 2 for the Volkswagen, 2 for the Renault. As Saavedra did have a pretty good return here, but once again, not quite enough. Elaine Broust has pretty much dominated the CT300s all day today. And it's going to be another win on the tally. It's going to make this championship fight look really interesting in the CT300s. As now, coming across the line to take victory in the CT300s, Elaine Broust in the Volkswagen will be your winner here in the 300s. What a drive from everybody. We'll go ahead and get the official results here momentarily, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. So once again, that was a beautiful race here as always in the Custom Touring Championship. Marcus Pennington finally getting the win that he's been wanting for so long, bringing that Jaguar to the top step of the podium for the first time this season of what he's hoping to be first of many. So that is going to be it. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. Once we go ahead and load back into the pits, as we see a few drivers have disconnected from the server, but we will go through our final race results here as drivers. And we see a bit of a victory donut there from Broust. Going ahead, having a little bit of fun in celebration. As the drivers are rounding out the session now. And yeah, that's pretty much going to be the end of the race here. So we'll go ahead and run through the official standings here once they go ahead and load on in. And yeah, I think that's another successful round here at the Custom Tour Car Championship. And yeah, it's really good to be back. We did have a week off, but now we're going to have another 3 rounds, I think, before our next break of the season. I'd have to double check that, but it is going to be a really interesting race next time around. As next up, after this, we are heading to the 1998 Long Beach Grand Prix in sunny California. The Endurance Racing Monaco, as it's been known. So, there we go. It's time for the official standings here. Marcus Pennington will take P1, followed by Matty Shepard, Fred Bawden, Kede Ashima, Kyle McCain, Peter Ertl, Elaine Broust, Rodrigo Cannavaro, Tito Saavedra, and Terry Nutt rounding out our top 10. And then we have Leonard Bork, Mayonnaise, Evelyn Cook, Lothar Leichenberg, Aurelio Toscanini, Miles Prower, Jokon Madeira, Pietro Stefanik, Enrique B, and David Totter. And then our retirees of the race here. Actually, no, we have a few more cars before then, but it's Patricia Fleck, Ishmael Rodriguez retiring from the race, and then Jules Wild, Martin Judge, Chris Hood, and then a few other drivers who are not a part of today's race, rounding out our grid. So once again, that is the Custom Touring Cars Championship, round number 4 at Mid-Ohio, wrapped up, done and dusted. It was a very fantastic race. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe, turn on post notifications if you haven't already. Once again, my name is Patrick Coleman, and I've been your host and commentator through today's race, and we'll see you guys next week.